Hey everyone, thank you for watching. Today's video I'm really excited to do. It's going to be another kind of revisiting past favorites video. It's going to be a full face using some of my favorite products from my Best of Beauty 2017 video. So I did a video like this earlier in the month. It was a collab video with my friend Mel. We revisited our 2016 Best of Beauty videos and used products from that video. This one is going to be my 2017, so I'll have my 2017 video listed down below. And I picked out a bunch of products from that video and I'm just going to be getting ready here on camera and just kind of like reflecting on 2018. I will definitely be doing my Best of Beauty 2018 in the coming month or two here. And yeah, so we're just gonna be doing a little try to get ready with me using some old faves. And still, I mean, some of these are still my faves. So before we get into it, I do want to say that this video is also in partnership with Moda Brushes. If you missed my video earlier in the year, I was using two palettes that are on my chopping block, but I mentioned that video went up on November 1st. I mentioned that Moda Brushes selected me as their Moda Maven for the month of November, which is really, really cool. I have a little spot over on their website, a little feature over there, a little paragraph about me, some of my favorite brushes from Moda, etc. So that's really neat. So I'm going to be using all the Moda brushes in this video again as well. So really cool. My discount code with Moda is usually for 10%. For the month of November, it's 20%. So if there's any brushes that you wanted to grab from Moda, my code Samantha will get you 20% off through the month of November, which we only have a couple weeks left, but that's okay. But yeah, why don't we go ahead and get started with this Get Ready With Me. Alrighty, so I'm going to jump in with the face. So one of the primers I mentioned is the No7 Airbrush Away Primer. This one is currently in my 18 and 2018 Project Pan, and I'm about done with it. Like, it feels really empty, but I'm still getting some product out here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply this to my face. One other thing that I wanted to say about the Moda brushes, I thought this would be a really good video to do with Moda brushes because I actually mentioned the Moda metallic brushes in my Best of 2017 video. So that is clearly when I found the metallic line and just fell in love with it. I think I have a lot of brushes from the metallic line to use today. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them, and they're just my fave. So for my foundation, I have the No7 Stay Perfect foundation. This is the shade Cool Beige and has pump on it. And I'm going to be using the Complexion brush from the Moda Metallics line. So I'm just going to do a couple pumps on there. This foundation is still great. I have two different shades of it. One more of like a summer shade, one more of a pale. This is my my paler shade. Still such a good foundation. I just was wearing it not too long ago. I'm just going to go ahead and start to buff that into the skin. And I really do like this foundation. It reminds me a lot of the, is it the Lancome Tinty Dole, where I really like the coverage on it. It's a nice medium coverage. You can build it up if you want, but I really like the medium coverage of this. It's also pretty long wearing. I don't think it holds up as long as the Lancome, and I think I mentioned the Lancome in that 2017 video also. But I just really like the natural finish that it gives. I just think it's so pretty. For concealer, I wanted to use the Kevyn Aucoin Supernatural Concealer. I really like this one. I just mentioned it in my Sephora Recommendations video. And I was saying that I don't hear a lot of people talk about this one, but I think that it's so nice. So I'm just going to apply a bit to the under eyes here. A very little bit goes a very long way. So I don't usually go as intense with this one. And then I'm just going to a few spots here. So I'm also going to be using this brush set in today's video. So with Moda Metallics, they let me pick out a favorite brush set, and of course I was gonna pick one out from the Metallics line. I also really like this one because it comes with a case and they're all mini brushes. You know, I love makeup minis, so I thought this would be the perfect one to spotlight. It's the 7-piece Total Face Flip Kit. So again, you have 7 brushes. You have both face and eye brushes. I'll definitely have this one listed down below, but I'm gonna be using the brushes from this set also. And the one that I'm gonna be using for my concealer it's actually a foundation brush, but I'm using it as a concealer brush because it's a little bit on the bigger side, and I just feel like it's really quick at blending out concealer, especially when I'm doing something like this. Like if I'm doing just like a little bit of concealer on my under eyes, you know, I can use something smaller, but if I'm really getting in there and also using my concealer to act as like my eye primer, then I like to use a little bit of a bigger brush for time saving. One thing that I thought was really interesting from my 2017 video was that I didn't mention any powder favorites. I didn't mention under eye powders or face powders. I remember doing my 2016 video and saying that I was into the loose powders, and then that really phased out for me, and now I'm just slowly starting to come back. So clearly 2017 I was just like not into powder products, but I do want to put powder on my under eyes and also my face. I'm gonna come into the Pur Contour Diaries because this is a bit of an older palette. I'm gonna use the shade Charm up here, and then I'm gonna use this pretty pink brush. This is the Precision Flat brush from Moda, and I'm just gonna tap the powder onto my under eyes to set that concealer. So I really don't have like an older setting powder to set my foundation with. A lot of the ones that I have now are newer to my collection. So I'm just gonna grab out my one from Covergirl because I like it. And I'm gonna set my foundation with this one, and then I'm gonna use the powder brush from that mini brush set that I was chatting about. So like I was saying, I was gonna try to kind of like chat about the year and all of that, since it's so crazy that it's almost December, which means it's almost a new year. I don't understand how this happens and how these months, especially I feel like towards the end of the year, things just start going really quick, you know? 2018 was like a crazy year for me, both like in really good ways and really like bad ways. And the year started out pretty challenging for us because my husband actually lost his job. I think it was January 15th or January 16th. So right in the middle of the first month, my husband loses his job, and it was like, wait, what? Contour, I'm going to use the Kevyn Aucoin. This is the Contour Book of Volume 2. And I'm going to use the Sculpting powder out of here with my Moda Contour brush. Obviously, losing a job, like, it's so stressful financial-wise. We lost our health insurance. I mean, it can definitely take a toll, you know, just on the marriage. Just, I mean, for me, I was like, I don't know what I should be doing. I don't want to be too, like, hey, are you looking for jobs again? You know, but I also at the same time, I'm like, oh my gosh, are you looking for jobs? Like, it's just such a weird thing. It's something that you don't wish for anybody to go through. But that was how the year started, and I was like, oh my gosh, should I be afraid for 2018? I'm gonna use my No7 bronzer in Caramel. Still love this guy, still love this guy. And my Moda Buffer brush that I use for bronzer. I think these two brushes, specifically the contour and buffer brush that I use for bronzer, were mentioned in my 2017 favorites video. So that was, I mean, it was super challenging, you know, especially for a couple months there where it was like, we don't know what's going on. And one thing that was also putting a bunch of stress on us was that we had a vacation planned in March. Typically every March, me, my husband, and another couple, two of our best friends, we go somewhere because all of our birthdays are within really close to one another. And so we had this trip planned to Arizona, and it was already paid for. Everything was paid for except for our hotel portion, but like we had game tickets, we had plane tickets, all of that, and we didn't have like, I don't know, do you guys always purchase trip insurance? Because I feel like I never do. And at that moment I was like, oh my gosh, what do we do? Because if we cancel this trip, you know, we don't get our money back. So we just lost hundreds of dollars for the plane. So it was like, I don't know, what should we do? Should we do this? I worked my butt off between January and March to try to make sure that we could still go on that trip, that we could still pay for our hotel portion. You know, luckily we share a room with our friends. So it wasn't like we were just like in the hotel room, just the two of us. But even thinking, I was like, you know, we're gonna need rental cars there and Ubers and all of that. So I'm a published author, but I also work like proofreading, editing, marketing for books. I took on so many projects during those 2 months. I was surprised that I was like a functioning human being because I was trying so hard to not have to cancel this trip. A, because I really wanted to go on it, but B, I didn't want to lose our plane money, you know? For blush, I'm going to grab my Becca Apres Ski Glow face palette. Oh man, I love this face palette so much. I'm gonna grab the blush out of here, which is called Winterberry. I'm gonna use my Angle Blender brush, which I've been using as a blush brush. I mentioned it in my October Makeup Monthly. That's been a favorite of mine to apply my blush. So yeah, like I was saying, I was working like crazy. My husband found a job, which was great. And then he was doing like some odd jobs because we both, and you know, maybe there wouldn't have been as much pressure too if we weren't going with another couple, but I was like, oh my gosh, this is their trip too. This is their birthday trip. They've been saving. They bought plane tickets that, you know, what if they decide to cancel and then they can't get their plane money back? Oh my, it was so, it was just another added stress. You know, we'd been planning this trip since July of the previous year. We decided what we wanted to do in like early April after our Colorado trip from the prior year, but then we actually started booking things that summer, and I was just like, this sucks. But we did it. We did it. We worked our butts off. We ate ramen noodles and Kraft mac and cheese pretty much for 3 months straight, and that was fine. We didn't go out. We really didn't do much of anything during that time. And obviously our friends knew, like, we weren't getting flack like, how come you guys aren't coming out? Aren't you doing this? And, you know, our friends were so nice too. Like, we were getting like a grocery store gift cards, you know, things like that. And it just, you know, so many people were so supportive during that time in our real life, but also this community was amazing to me during that time. And it just, it took away some of the crazy stress, you know, which we were so thankful for. I'm gonna switch the eyes for a little bit. So I wanted to use some glitter because I mentioned a couple different glitters in there. I want to use some of the Urban Decay heavy metal glitters, but I want to do just a little bit of like base work. So I'm gonna use my Dose of Colors Marvelous Mauves eyeshadow palette. This was a big old fave of mine. So I'm just gonna place, like, I'm just gonna kind of be sloppy here. I'm just using the eye shader brush from Moda. I think I'm just gonna come in with like this one here and kind of put it everywhere, blend it into the crease, but I really want to put some glitter down, so this part doesn't have to be anything. I actually took this palette with me on our Arizona trip, and it was what I wore like pretty much the entire time. So I'm just gonna kind of lay that one down. But I was really proud of us, and we had such a good time. Oh my gosh, we had such a good time in Arizona. It was one of those trips where like nothing went wrong. Nothing was wrong with our plane, you know, nothing was wrong with our hotels. You know, like sometimes like your hotel can't find your reservation, or things are mixed up, or I don't know, something's wrong with your hotel room. Nothing was wrong. Everything went so smoothly. We got to go to a Cubs preseason game, which was so much fun for me. My husband is a Sox fan, but the other three of us were Cubs fans. So we got to see a Cubs game. We rented a car and we went to the Grand Canyon for a day, which was, I mean, that was on all four of us. You know, that's our bucket list. Oh my gosh, that was really neat. We had such a good time. It was such a like stress-free trip. I'm so happy that we were able to do that. So I can't decide what glitter I want to use. I think I'm going to come in with this one first and maybe even add in a little of another one. So this one is called Catcall. And I'm just going to start to apply this on the lid, like in the center-ish of the eyes. Just add a little bit of glitter here. I love these Urban Decay glitters still. So yeah, that was really fun. And then after that, really we just kind of focused on, you know, getting him settled into his new job, which he's, you know, still at, and that's, you know, all going great. We do have to move, and this kind of really came into play around, I think it was around like May, when we were like, okay, yep, this is what he's gonna do. So we actually need to move because his job is based about 2 hours away from where we live. So he has to commute every day, and I don't see him as much because sometimes he spends the night in that town, and you know, there's several nights where like he doesn't come home, and I don't know, you know, it's just a challenging thing. It's just different for, you know, our marriage and what we've been used to. You know, I was used to him working 15 minutes away. I would go and, you know, meet him for lunch once a week and all of that. So just a change. But around kind of like May, we were like, okay, we need to look for a house. I started getting our house, like kind of cleaning it up. Sorry if I'm going in and out of focus probably with this part, but it's just really hard to do on camera. But I started like trying to prep our house to get shown, and then we realized we were looking at houses in this other town, which is a really, really small town. It's still in Iowa, but a very, very small town, but the housing market there is so expensive. It's like crazy. And so we actually had to pretty much put it on hold because we're like, well, we actually can't afford to move there right now. Like, that was unexpected. I guess I kind of thought, you know, we're moving to a smaller town, like houses will probably be cheaper and all of that. And it's actually not the case. So we put it on hold. We did some work to our house so that, you know, hopefully we can list it and sell it at a higher price to try to help kind of offset what we're gonna have to buy in this new town. So we did some work like on the basement, and then just some like facade work. I don't know what you would really call that, but just, you know, just trying to like clean it up a little bit and all of that. So that's kind of what we started working on over the summer and trying to get pretty serious about that. I really like that. I think I'm just gonna keep it as that. Like it's like simple, but it's still, you know, a pop of glitter. Oh, okay, I like it. I didn't mention, I had my DHC liquid liner in there, but I didn't mention anything for the waterline, so I'm just gonna put a little bit of Urban Decay Heartless into my waterline here. Ooh, I need to sharpen this one pretty soon. And I'm just gonna take the same shade and same brush from the Marvelous Mauves palette and just run it kind of sloppily on the lower lash line, just have a little bit of shadow there. For the inner corner, I'm taking the small brush from the set. It's actually a lip brush, but I have another one of these and I use it as an eye brush, like inner corner. And I'm just gonna take the first shade in the palette and just tap a little bit there. And then just add that to the inner corner. For mascara, I mentioned from Flower Beauty the Zoom In Ultimate Mascara. And I still have one. I've repurchased this like several times now. It has the wand where you can twist it to do different things. So I'm first gonna do this first setting here for my lower lashes. It just kind of helps lengthen the lashes. And then I do one pass with the lengthen, and then I do one pass with the final one, which is, I think, supposed to be curl. It's supposed to be lengthen, volume, curl, but I really like the last one also. So I usually just do 2 coats, and I do the first and third setting. So for my brows, the product that I spotlighted was the Thrive Cosmetics Brow Pencil. That was in my 2018 project pan. I finished it up, but I did mention the Benefit products in there, and I just said, like, I mentioned these last year, they're still a fave, but I'm also gonna talk about the Thrive Pencil. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use my Precisely My Brow from Benefit. In my 2016 video, I used the Goof Proof, so I'm just gonna use some Precisely My Brow today. But yeah, so the summer was pretty low-key for us. Last summer was crazy for us. We made a bucket list with this other couple, and we were doing all these crazy things. We did a couple of trips, which was super fun, like mostly in Iowa here, but like we did a couple of trips, and we did a 5K, we did like a scavenger hunt around here. Like we were everywhere last summer, and it was one of the funnest summers ever. But this summer was more, you know, more chill, more relaxed. We weren't really able to like go anywhere or anything like that. You know, just trying to work on our house, and then obviously like save for the next house and all of that. Usually we do a volleyball league. We didn't do our volleyball league this year. You know, just things like that. It was just more of like a low-key summer. We both worked a lot. And yeah, I mean, totally fine, like no big deal. Like we still had, you know, fun times going to our, you know, friends' houses and all of that, and, you know, just going on the deck. We do have a friend who has a boat, which I think it's, what's that saying, like what's better than owning a boat, like having a friend who owns a boat. So we have a friend who has a boat. We were able to go out, you know, on the lake a couple times. It was just more of like a quieter summer for us than the one the year prior, but I mean, that's totally fine. I have one pretty cool opportunity. When did this happen? Was it in May? I feel like I can't remember exactly when I went for this, but I got asked to be a speaker at a writers conference. So I'm also a published author, and I've been in the industry for many years now, and I got asked to be a speaker at this writer conference in Oklahoma City. So, you know, it was a business trip. I got paid to do it, which was super cool. And also, you know, I got like flown there and had my hotel and everything like that. And I got to speak on how to effectively use social media, which was really neat. Both of my 2 topics were mostly like social media based. And because that's kind of, you know, that's one of like my specialties, I guess I would say. And it was really cool. I've never done anything like that. I was super nervous. Quite honestly, if we weren't like trying to like save and all of that, I don't know if I would have done it because I'm super shy, and that was very intimidating. But I was like, no, it's a paying job, like you have to do it. But in the end, I'm so glad I did. It was really cool. The first day I was so nervous. I went to like take a drink of water as I was talking, and I spilled water all down the front of me. Totally fine. no big deal. The second day I wasn't as nervous, my hands weren't shaking as bad, and I also learned don't pick up the water. Okay, we are almost done. I know this is probably gonna be a longer video, and I have such a hard time trying to talk about makeup and other topics. It's so challenging. But for my highlight, I'm going to use the Smashbox and Casey Holmes collab. This was the Spotlight palette. This one is in Pearl. Oh my gosh, I still love this palette. I still am reaching for it all the time. This was such a nice highlighting palette. It's still available. It's not a collab with Casey Holmes anymore, so you just don't get like the box with her like photo and signature on it. I'm gonna mix these two shades together, I think, and then maybe top a little bit of the third. But it's such a nice palette. I definitely still recommend it. So yeah, the authors conference was really cool. It was really neat to have that opportunity and just do something a little bit different outside my comfort zone and all of that. The fall time was pretty much all weddings for us. We had, I can't remember how many, like 5 or 6 weddings this year, and all within like a 2-month period. A lot of times it seems like our weddings are in the summer, like they start like late spring, early summer. But for whatever reason this year, they were mostly in the fall, like September, October time. So we had a bunch of weddings. We did have to travel for some, but mostly they were in Mitch's hometown, so we're able to stay with his parents, which is nice. So we don't have to worry about like hotels or anything like that. But yeah, we had a lot of weddings in the fall. And I was able to go on a trip this year, though. I did a girls trip, and we went to Vegas for a friend's bachelorette party and her 30th birthday. Same girlfriend. So we went to Vegas to celebrate that, and that was so much fun. And it was also so cheap to go to Vegas. I don't understand. We got an Airbnb. Check in Airbnbs if you can for Vegas, because it was so much cheaper to stay in an Airbnb versus a hotel. And then all 6 of us could be together. We didn't have to worry about like splitting rooms. We did only have 1 bathroom for 6 girls, but it actually was fine. Like we didn't have it. I mean, we were late to every single reservation we went to, but I mean, it was fine. It was fine. But it was so much fun. And also I didn't realize how cheap Vegas was if you were there with a group of girls. Has anyone else ever been to Vegas and experienced that? Because, well, you really didn't pay for much when you were there. You got into places free, you got drinks free, you got, I mean, basically we paid for like our meals. And that was it. I was like, this is not what I was expecting, but I will take it. That trip was so fun. I'm really glad that I was able to be a part of it. And again, that was at the end of September. And I mean, now we're already in November. I get to visit my family here shortly, which I'm really excited about. For my lip color, before I talk about that, before my lip color, again, it was really fun going through all the lip colors because I have so many lip products in that video. It's ridiculous. But I chose out MAC Burnt Spice to put on because I feel like I have not reached for this lip color in so long, and I love this nude so much. It's crazy. So I was like, what? I have to do Burnt Spice. So here's what the lip color looks like. I just love Burnt Spice from MAC, so I'm really glad that I grabbed it out. But that's gonna finish it off for the look today, using some of those favorite products from my Best of Beauty 2017 video. I'm trying to think like where I left off chat-wise. But I think it's just really interesting for me to look back on the year and think of how shaky it started and how unsure I was about so much of the future, and then to see how it's ending just so much better and in such a more positive place. I think one thing that I've really have taken away from 2018 is that if I want something to change, etc., that I'm going to do it, and I feel very confident in myself that I know that I can do it. I feel like I really look back on that Arizona trip and having less than 2 months to try to work as hard, both me and my husband, to work as hard as we could to be able to still do that trip and doing it. It makes me feel confident because, you know, right now we're kind of in that, what are we going to do for our housing situation? And I feel a lot better about both of us being like, we know what we can do. We know what we can say no to and what we can, like, you know, sacrifice and whatnot. We know that we can do that in order to get what it is that we want next. You know, I feel like that's something that I've really taken away from 2018, that I can work hard, I can bust everything in me to be able to achieve something. And that I'm not, you know, I'm not waiting around for someone else to make things better for me or to make things happen for me. I can do it. I have the power to be able to do that. I have the drive to be able to do that. That's something really big that I think that I've taken away from 2018. I'm really excited to see what 2019 holds. I have a lot of ideas and plans and goals for 2019 that I'm really excited about. But closing out 2018, I mean, I can't do it without saying, you know, thank you guys so much for your continued support throughout the year. This was a really big year for me on YouTube. I don't know what I started the year at, but I remember, I think I hit 50K shortly after my birthday in March. So I think maybe I started my channel around 40,000, maybe just under 40,000 at the start of 2018, and I'm, you know, getting just shy of 70,000 at the time, which is very exciting for me. But just so many friendships that I feel like I've made, just the messages, the comments, getting able to meet some people at Gen Beauty. It's been such an amazing time on YouTube in 2018. I feel very comfortable with myself. I feel like I have really found myself this year, and that's a pretty amazing feeling, and I have so many of you to thank for that. And it's something that I don't take for granted, and I'm just very thankful for it. So thank you for watching and supporting throughout this year. I hope to keep working hard in 2019, and yeah, I'm gonna wrap up this video here because of course this is what's happening. But thank you guys so much for watching. A big thank you to Moda Brushes for working with me on this video, for choosing me as the Moda Maven for the month of November. That was a really cool recognition thing, so thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your continued support. I hope that you'll give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. I hope that you'll also consider subscribing before you go, and I'll catch you guys in tomorrow's video.